We're visiting with Paul Sorum. He's a candidate for the North Dakota governor's race. We're looking for the GOP nomination, and good evening.
Good evening. Nice to be here.
Yeah, welcome to Harvey, and of course, you know, we're less than a year away from the big
That's right.
big election. And what are some of the key things as you are looking for the GOP nod for the governor's race? What are some of the things you're looking at right now?
Well, there's a host of issues that are very hot button issues for different contingencies around the state. The pro-life one, for example, is a big issue that people are very fired up for. And there's a number of other issues that really strike people as hot button issues, and they are anxious for a conservative change of leadership in the state. One of them is just the fiscal condition of our state. You know, increasing spending 135% since the year 2000 is not acceptable. And we need to limit the growth in state government so that we're more competitive for businesses and growth.
Okay. The state of North Dakota raking in the neighborhood of $4 million a day tax revenue from the oil fields. What's your feeling on that? And how should that money be appropriated? How should it be spent? Should it be put away? What's your feelings on it?
Well, here's what I feel is there's been no vision. We've known since 2004 what was going to happen in terms of the oil industry in our state. And there's been very little, if no vision, for how to accommodate that, make that a permanent industry here in our state. And I say we can develop the kind of infrastructure that will maximize the growth in that industry while minimizing the impact on the people that live here. We can build the infrastructure that needs to be built, but it's not happening because there's no leadership.
All right. Another hot topic issue regarding the oil fields, EPA. Some talk of EPA. Of course, they want to regulate the air quality in North Dakota, and with fracking of oil, they want to get their fingers in that. Your feelings?
The stated goal of the liberals in Washington is to necessarily make our coal-fired power plants go bankrupt by increasing regulation and therefore increasing the price of electricity. They also have said they want a moratorium on fracking in our oil industry, which of course would be devastating. They also want to regulate dust on farms. All of this is of course designed to punish our state for being productive, being prosperous in a time when the rest of the country is in crisis. And what we need in the governor's office is somebody who will take their oath to the Constitution seriously. And we don't have that. We don't have leadership. I want to restore people's constitutional rights. I want to make state government work for people, not for Washington, D.C. When I'm governor, I will stand firm and stop the EPA from regulating things in our state that our state has the only authority to regulate. Our state has authority to regulate everything. The federal government, under the U.S. Constitution, does not have authority delegated to it to shut down coal, to shut down our oil, to shut down our agricultural industries. They don't have that authority. And if we don't have strong, courageous leadership, and a lot of people are going to get hurt in this state.
All right. Another key thing that has people worried in North Dakota, the Obamacare. And that's something that was ramrodded through. We had some legislators in the special session that wanted to activate it immediately because under the premise that we can control it better. What's your take on that?
Well, here again, we need strong leadership, and we don't have any in the governor's office right now. Obamacare is clearly unconstitutional. Now, if the federal government can tell a citizen in a state that they have to buy a certain product or service of a certain type, you know, at a certain cost, and what's preventing them from dictating everything else in your life? That's not freedom, and it's not going to stand ultimately. The Constitution is our only security for our freedom, and we have to have a governor that ensures that people's freedoms are protected. Once again, the government doesn't have the authority to mandate this, and we should nullify Obamacare. There was a bill in the last session, several of them, that would have done a good job of that. And for the most part, our governor took a pass at those things. And we need to put something in place, sends a strong message to Washington that we're overreaching, going past the authority delegated to the federal government and the Constitution, and won't be accepted here. And if we don't have that, everything we have in the state's at risk. I won't let that happen.
All right. Well, people may know that you ran in the last election cycle for the Senate race, and what people really like is that you're not a politician. You are a businessman.
That's right.
From Fargo who actually meets a payroll. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm trained as an architect. I have a background in finance as well. I'm trained also in software technology. And I'm also a general contractor. I love construction. I know a lot about construction. I know a lot about the needs here in the western North Dakota because that's my background. I understand how it should be financed. I know how it impacts people here when it's not done properly, when there's no plan or vision to do it, and there isn't. And we have a lot of problems. And one of the things I've heard recently this week is a Walmart store in Williston has a policy that a woman can't leave the front door without an escort to their car because of the dangers of crime in Williston. That's unacceptable. And while that doesn't directly tie to the infrastructure problems, it's a byproduct of a lack of leadership. That's unacceptable in a North Dakota community. To have a community that dangerous, you can't leave a public store in the daytime without putting your body at risk. I feel this is the epitome of what's wrong with our current administration, that these kinds of things can develop, and we can fix these things easily. We have the resources to do it, but the person in the governor's office has to work for the people, the citizens of this state, not for more government.
All right. Paul, we thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.